9:16 here on the morning show with Jeff and Will. It's AM 1700 WRCR, Haverstraw, WRCR.com. We welcome in at this hour Tina Traster. She heads up and is the founder of RCBizJournal.com. That's the Rockland County Business Journal's website. Good morning, Tina. How are you?
I am fine. I hope everybody had a glorious weekend.
Glorious it was indeed. How about yourself?
Yes, glorious. I can attest. Oh, what a beautiful weekend. Anyway,
good.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. What's going on in the business world here in Rockland County.
Yes, a lot on the development front.
Nice.
Let's start with something that is going to happen at the Clarkstown Planning Board meeting on this Wednesday at 7 p.m. The Clarkstown Planning Board is going to be asked to greenlight a proposal that potentially will set precedent or have consequences for anything that's built going forward. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So, in March 2016, the town of Clarkstown unanimously passed a local law, the town code's zoning, that basically says that certain permitted non-residential uses in residential zones, including houses of worship, must be located on a state or county road. So that means that it can't be located on, a town road, for example. What we're talking about today is the Islamic Center of Rockland. They have a large mosque situated on Mountain View Avenue in Valley Cottage. And they built that several years ago. But now they want to build an additional 30,000 square foot building on a road that is, if anybody knows the road, it is serpentine, it is dangerous, and it is not zoned for this use. So before the planning board can look at a project like this, this applicant is going to need to go before the zoning board because they are although they're already a non-conforming use, and any expansion of that non-conforming use is going to require zoning and planning approval. Now, the applicant says that it's allowed to build this structure. This is a structure, if you can picture, possibly the size of a ShopRite, going on a road that is notorious for flooding, skidding, cars ending up in front of in driveways. It's a very dangerous road.
Which road? I'm sorry. Which road is this? That you're talking about?
Yeah, Mountain View Avenue.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yep.
Yep. So it's the road that's sandwiched between Christian Herald on one side and 59 on the other, and it's also the through road to the thruway.
It's also it's like you said, it's a very narrow, curvy, winding type of road as well. And this Islamic Center is basically at the top of it.
Exactly. And this is a road that has steep inclines and hairpin curves, and it's it's not just that it's that when Clarkstown passed this law, the spirit of this law was to try to protect what is left of our residential neighborhoods. And we see this issue coming up all the time, and it's often, what residents go to fight against. In this particular case, if the planning board, particularly the zoning board, were to move this project forward, it would essentially strip away the teeth of this new zoning code. And here's the thing. This zoning code passed in 2016, as far as I know, has not been tested before. So, for example, if the zoning board and planning board were to ignore the town's new code, it would basically mean that any house of worship or any commercial use that right now must be located on a state or county road. By state or county road, we're talking about roads like 303, um, 304, not residential roads. So anything in the town of Clarkstown could end up on these residential neighborhoods. The project also really needs to be subject to SEQR review. That's the State Environmental Quality Review Act, because they're talking about a land disturbance of more than 6 acres. And now picture this. This is 6 acres on the top of a mountain. So you're talking about so much runoff and so much mitigation. But this is even secondary because it's projects just simply not allowed according to Clarkstown's law. That said, it would still require, if they were to move forward, it would review because this mountaintop project is in the what's called the R160 conservation zone. This project has gone to what's called the Technical Advisory Committee more than a dozen times. It is no secret that residents along Mountain View Avenue and Christian Herald and the neighborhood at large absolutely object to such an expansion. The application itself even acknowledges that it will result in a substantial increase in traffic mornings, evenings, and weekends. And again, this is not Mountain View Avenue is not a road that can handle it. It's already overbuilt. That's just the way things happened over the years and decades. But again, 2016, Clarkstown, through its comprehensive plan, had the vision to pass a strategic law to try to protect what's left of residential roads and conservation districts. And this project just simply flies in the face of that law. What this applicant is proposing just specifically is they want to expand their existing 10,000 square foot mosque, but they also want to build a nearly 30,000 square foot building that would have more than parking for more than 200 cars. So they say that their use would be classrooms, offices, gymnasium, and prayer areas for bigger events. What else? Like I said, more than 200 cars on a road that's just already incredibly overwhelmed. I also mentioned that there would be a lot of trees and just taken back in.
So now, what's the next steps for this project, though? Where are the next steps that this project will need to take before this can even happen?
Well, so this Wednesday at 7 p.m., this applicant is coming to the planning board, and it is. I guess there will probably be, a lot of. I'd say there will very likely be a lot of opposition to this. The planning board will start to hear this proposal. At the very least, it is obliged to send this application to the zoning board. But we're going to have to see how this plays out because the lucky thing I think for residents is that this is in the early stage. Sometimes people find out about a project too late and they feel helpless. But that is not the case. This is just really at the beginning, and so we will see how this goes on Wednesday at the planning board in Clarkstown. On the other hand, we also covered the Miller's Pond Plan Unit development on the former Minnescongo golf course. So that is a project that there was still an open for public comments through last week, and so we reported on that. But that looks like it's further along, and that's going to be a 637-unit residential and mixed-use development in Ramapo that is moving forward. And the key to that project also has to do with zoning. because in 2022, the town of Ramapo amended its comprehensive plan and focused on what it's called the Ramapo Northeast Corridor. And they were looking to establish what's called these fixed zones. They're called FOPODs. And in these zones, the goal was to create communities that were self-sustaining, meaning they'd be walkable, less traffic, have commercial and residential. This is a land use goal that's been around for very long. We've seen this, in the region. I don't know that we've seen this really in Rockland County. I think this could be new to Rockland County. But the idea is to sort of create a community within a community, and so that it's not just, a bunch of houses, but then all the support services are outside of that. So that's a project to watch. People should, take a look at that story. It's kind of interesting. It's called Miller's Pond, and again, it's called a planned unit development. We might see more of that in Ramapo, and if any of the other towns take a page, in Rockland County.
Indeed, and we are just about out of time. So why don't we tell people when and where your next? I think you have one coming up. Do you have a meeting this week at Roast again in Nanuet, or is that?
No, meeting last week, and I wanted to thank all the people who came out to that. That was successful. It was lovely. We'll have another one in December at some time. I will let you know about that date.
Excellent. Very good. Terrific, Tina. Glad those are working out for you and for your readers as well. If anybody wants some more information about rcbizjournal.com, certainly just go to their website to read all the different stories and opinion pieces that Tina posts over there. You can sign up for newsletters and get more information about the organization. And we thank you for calling us every Monday as you do. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Have a great week.